This week's series all started with a vision that happened this morning. Now I'm recording this on Saturday, and it really took all day for me to really understand what God was telling me and how it came together into a message series for the walk. So today what we're talking about is a cave. And the law of first mention is a very good Bible study strategy. So what you do is you find out where is the first place that word is found. And then you look at that word in what the original language would have been. So for the word cave, it's marara. I don't know if I'm saying that right. And it means a cave, a den, or a hole. But when you look at the pictograph for each of the letters, it started to come together and I started to understand it in a different way. And I'm going to tell you about the vision later. But it's a picture of the palm of the hand and it's a picture of the head of a man. So when it's combined, it's the palm of the hand as in hollowed out. So you've got like a hollowed out place within the hand. And right away, I started to think about how a den, a cave, a hole is something that's set aside. It's something that's carved out. It can be carved out by man, but it can also be carved out just by the natural geology that God has set up and the way that the earth changes. It can be carved out by water, but it is carved out. And so I started to look at places where this word is used. And one of the places that it really jumped out at me is in 1 Kings 18 and 19. Now, we're not going to have time for me to read the whole thing to you, but I want you to go back and read Kings chapter 18 and chapter 19. Because in here, Jezebel is pursuing Elijah and the other prophets. And it says that Obadiah hid 100 of the Lord's prophets by 50s in a cave. So he separated them. He had 50 in one place, 50 in another. They were all hidden in this cave. And he brought them bread and water so that they had something to live on. And so Elijah is told, that he's to go back to where Jezebel is. So Ahab sent to all the people of Israel, and he gathered the prophets together at Mount Carmel. And Elijah came near to all the people and said, "How long will you go limping between two different opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him. But if Baal, follow him." And then this is where the prophets of Baal are defeated. So then the Lord sends rain, and Elijah says to Ahab, this is the part where the Lord sends rain. They're in a very bad drought that's causing a famine. And Elijah says to Ahab, "Get up, eat and drink, for there is a sound of the rushing rain." So Ahab went to eat and drink, and Elijah went up to the top of Mount Carmel, and he bowed down to the earth and put his face to his knees, and he said to his servant, "Go up now, look toward the sea." And he looked up and said, "There is nothing." And he said, "Go again 7 times. At the 7th time, he said, "Behold, a little cloud like a man's hand is rising from the sea." And he said to him, "Go up and say to Ahab, prepare your chariot and go down, lest the rain stop you." And in a little while, the heavens grew black with clouds and wind, and there was great rain. Here's the interesting thing that just jumped out at me, and I've already read this several times, but I missed it until just the recording of this. The cloud that was bringing the rain, that was bringing the relief, was in the shape of a hand. The pictograph of a cave is a hand. So then Elijah flees Jezebel because Jezebel's out to kill him, and Jezebel is pursuing him. So Elijah goes a day's journey into the wilderness and came and sat under a broom tree, and all the things that he needed were provided for. So then in verse 9 of Kings 19, it says, he came to a cave and lodged in it. And behold, the word of the Lord came to him and said, what are you doing here, Elijah? He said, I have been very jealous for the Lord, the God of hosts, for the people of Israel have forsaken your covenant, thrown down your altars, and killed your prophets with the sword, and I, even I only am left, and they seek my life to take it away. And he said, go out and stand on the mount before the Lord. And behold, the Lord passed by, and a great strong wind tore the mountains and broke in pieces the rocks before the Lord, but the Lord was not in the wind. Then there was an earthquake, and the Lord was not in the earthquake. After the earthquake, there was a fire, and the Lord was not in the fire. And then there was a sound of a low whisper. And when Elijah heard it, he wrapped his face in his cloak and went out and stood at the entrance of the cave. And behold, there came a voice to him and said, what are you doing here, Elijah? And then he repeats that, I'm the only one left. And the Lord said to him, go, return on your way to the wilderness of Damascus. And when you arrive, you shall anoint Hazael to be king over Syria, and Jehu, the son of Nimshi, to be king over Israel, and Elisha, the son of Shaphat of Abel Malholah, you shall anoint to be prophet in your place. And the one who escapes the swords of Hazael shall Jehu put to death. And the one who escapes the sword of Jehu shall Elisha put to death. Yet I will leave 7,000 in Israel, all the knees that have not bowed to Baal, and every mouth that has not kissed him. There's 7,000 prepared and set aside. And here Elijah's thinking he's all alone. When you go in that prayer closet, you think you're all alone. You feel like you're talking to an empty room until you really get into it. And then you start to realize how powerful God's presence is. And you hear that soft whisper. Think of your prayer closet as that cave where you go to hear God whisper. Have a wonderful day. God bless, and keep walking the walk.